everybody. Good morning. Hi, how are we? Good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world, whenever you're watching this. Hello. I'm going to be talking a little bit quieter today. There's a baby right on the other side of that wall that is sleeping. Hi. Welcome back to the Daily Creative Challenges. My name is Andrew Hockrattle, and y'all, today is a very special day. 3 years ago, in this day, a sweet bear blessed our hearts. That's right, it's Paddington 2. It's my favorite movie of all time. So we're going to be celebrating today, bringing you some joy. And as Paddington says, if we are kind and polite, the world will be right. So today, we're going to be kind, we're going to be polite, and we're going to have some fun and learn some stuff. If you're just joining us, say hello in the chat. Anthony, Greg, hi, Audra, Olgirk, Luska. Where are you? Where are you from? That's an awesome name. Really, really great to see you all. Yes, Wade is here, our favorite moderator. Let's get started and talk a little bit about what we're doing today, how you can get involved, and what the Daily Creative Challenge is. So the Daily Creative Challenge is right over here. You can get all the info at behance.net/challenge/illustrator, the place to be where you can get all of your source files, watch old videos, and get involved with things that we're doing every day. As you see, we are in our second week of challenges, and we are going to be designing a logo today. This is definitely our #1 requested challenge is how do I make a logo? How do I make a logo? I'm going to show you. And we also are going to be covering a new feature that was just added to Illustrator Desktop. It's been on Illustrator iPad and it has just come to the desktop, which I'm very excited about. Literally realized, I think a couple days ago, I was like, oh, yay, it's here, it's here, it's here. So we're going to play around with that today. So stay tuned. And another way that you can get involved is to go right here to our disc. Oh, what's happening over here? Is to go to our Discord right above me. You can click through that link and that will be the place to get involved. It also is the place where you can put all of your daily creative challenges once you finish your work. Let's hop over there and take a look. Right there, this is where people are putting all of their challenges, which is really cool. They're going to get some feedback from me, from some mentors, and just a really great spot to get connected and join as a community. Now, if you do want to follow along, I will be going live on my personal Behance to give you some feedback, and you can follow that right here. I didn't fix it. I'll fix it. So you can follow along right here, hawk.co, on Instagram, Twitter, or right here on Behance. And that will be the place that I'll be giving feedback and hanging out with you all. Now, we're getting close to the end of our challenges, and what you can do is you can post on Behance using hashtag AI Daily Challenge and be considered to be featured in the creative gallery for our creative challenges. Yes, I made it. Really great to see you. Glad that you made it here. So we're going to hop into our lesson today. We are going to be making a logo. I'm going to show you some tricks with the Radial Repeat feature, which is new, and it's going to be a great time. And we're going to be working a ton with the Pathfinder. So I have turned on my screen that you can see the hotkeys. So if you have questions, the hotkeys are happening down in the bottom left-hand corner as we work. If you're just joining us, we're having fun. We're doing a Western theme for these challenges. So we're going to go ahead and hit the trail and make a little marmalade sandwich. All right, I think we fixed our green screen here. Yes, looks good. All right, we are back and we are ready to get started on our daily creative challenge. Let's go ahead and hop in to Illustrator and look at what we are doing today. So our challenge today is design a custom logo using simple shapes and the Pathfinder tool. And I think I had marmalade toast for breakfast. Yes, it's perfect. Our quote today, there's a snake in my boot. What's that from? If you know what that's from, go ahead and put that in chat, get a little interaction, have a little fun. So let's hop in and let's talk about what we're doing today. We're going to be making a logo. And making a logo is very often a long process. So we're going to try to think quickly and try to convert something from the real world into the digital world, right? So what we're going to do today is we are going to make a logo for our Western town. And I believe that someone at some point had called it something gulch. So we're going to play with the word gulch. What should our town be called, chat? You get to go ahead and pick this. Blank gulch. So come up with a name. I'll pick one and we'll incorporate that into our logo. But knowing that we want to be a gulch, maybe we're in a hill or something, we want to play around maybe with the idea of like a hill, something to represent that. That's a simple mark. And often logos are made out of simple shapes. And what I like to do when I'm working on logos is I will grab the pencil tool, which I believe is hidden right under here on the shaper tool. Yes, Toy Story, it is 100%. Great job. Radial Gulch. All right, Radial Gulch is going to be what it is. That's great. So we're going to use the pencil tool, and what I like to do is kind of sketch out the idea that I want, and then we'll build it out with basic shapes. So I know that I want a kind of gulch, so I want something that has maybe like this kind of, like a kind of rise like that, and then maybe I want the sun coming up over it. I think that could be interesting as well. So we're going to go ahead and do just like maybe there's a sun here. Oops. And then maybe there's like some little jaggedy things around the sun. And you can do this on a piece of paper, but I like to do it in Illustrator just so I have it there, able to see it as I go through. And then I also maybe want to do, so this will have some like spikies on it. And then using the pencil tool one more time, we're going to put in, this will be where our type goes. We're just going to make that right there. So this kind of gives me an idea of what I want that logo to be. And I think that I want this to be something that is like an actual line like that. So let's play around with that. Let's use some simple shapes and some effects and see if we can build this using the Pathfinder tool. Now, coming down here, we are going to, I'm just going to move this. Goodbye. So we're going to use these guides that we have here to kind of try to make this logo in the center, to try to make it all nice and pretty. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab a rectangle, right? When we looked at this bottom part, this is really a rectangle that's like starting in one area and then rising up to another. So we're going to use a warp effect to accomplish that. We're first going to grab the rectangle tool, which is just M. We're coming over here to the rectangle tool, and we're going to make this line. Now there's a couple ways that we could do this. I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways. So we can go to effect, we can go to warp, and we can go to rise right there. And it's going to rise up just that one side. And you can play around with different effects, but we can do rise, which is going to take the bottom to the top and transition smoothly between those two. Another thing that I can do that I actually think I'm going to do is use the pen tool. I'm going to draw a line across here. We're going to make sure that that line is a stroke. So I'm hitting Shift X to align that stroke. We'll just make this a very, very thick stroke. You can see me holding Shift and just hitting up there a whole bunch of times. And we are going to go to Effect. We are going to go to Distort and then Zigzag. And Zigzag is going to make it rise, right? It's going to make it in almost like little waves. And so we really want one ride per segment, and we're going to have it raise a whole bunch. So we'll hit OK here, and then go to Object and Expand. Now we're just going to have our nice little rise. So this is a perfect little rise made with our little perfect zigzag there. And this is just a way to make sure that it's very, very precise. So it's a little thick for me. Let's take this down to about 200. And now we're going to continue to use simple shapes and use the Pathfinder tool to really start to bring it all together. So I'm going to hit L, which is the ellipse tool. Very, very simple. And we are going to click Shift and Alt or Option to click out from the center. And that's going to give us this nice little sun. Now we have a nice little sun. We'll have it rising over this kind of gulch so we can have the valley. And that looks good to me. And we're going to go back and kind of fix some of the areas that look like they're a little bit off, right? Looks like it's kind of overlapping here. And we'll do the Pathfinder all together. So as you're working, you don't need to focus on kind of figuring out the Pathfinder as you go. As long as you keep in mind that you're building with simple shapes, it's easy to go back and apply the Pathfinder and refine things as you go. So we're just going to leave that here and leave it overlapping. And then we're going to get into my favorite new thing in Illustrator. It's been in Illustrator on iPad and is now come to the desktop. That's right. Drumroll please, Radial Repeat. So we're going to go ahead and click and hold over here. And we can do two things. We can either go to the polygon tool and click and hit 3. because we want a triangle. Triangle is 3 sides. We're going to hit OK, and it's going to make a nice little triangle for us. Another way that you can do that, same thing, again, different ways, is go to the star tool. And again, 3 points, because a triangle is really just a 3-pointed star. So those are 2 different ways to make a triangle. You can do either of those. Now, here's what we're going to do. I want to add some little spikies, right? Some spikies to this sun. So it looks like it's kind of emanating those. And yes, Radial Repeat, everyone's excited. I do want them to be perfect triangles just for stylistic purposes. So we're going to click on this, and we're going to go to Object. Then we are going to go to Repeat. And now there's a new option here for Radial. So we're going to click on Radial Repeat and watch what happens. Ooh, Radial Repeat. So it's taking that shape and just repeating it again and again and again around that edge. Now, what I can do is I can come in here and mess with some of the settings. So this top one, as I click and drag it, you can see it's going to move the distance that it is repeating, right? We can click and drag wherever, kind of realign it wherever we want. And yes, you do need to update your Illustrator, because this is a great tool. So we can move that in or out from the center, and it's going to change where those sit. We also can, let's actually move this up. We also can use this little handle right here and drag up, and it's going to add copies. It's going to add copies of what we have. So now we have a whole bunch of copies of that original shape. Now the one at the bottom here, let's say that we have a bunch of copies, we can go to the left or right, and it's actually going to start and stop where it repeats, right? So we can continue that, and you'll see that it's starting and stopping where it repeats with those shapes. If we need to, we can expand these so that they are actual shapes, which we will do in a minute. So let's go ahead and bring this back right there. And we're going to align it with our sun here. I'm going to stroke this with yellow just so we can see it a little bit. Yes, ooh, it is a new feature and it's awesome. So we are going to select these two, and we are going to use the Align to Key Object feature. You saw there I selected my Radial Repeat as well as the circle, and then you click one more time on the circle and it highlights it in that dark line. That means that it is going to align to that new shape. So we're going to scale this up, and I want it just on that edge, just overlapping a little bit, and I'm going to fill it with that same yellow. So we can see now we have that nice little sun that is overarching. Now again, it is overlapping, but that's fine. We can work with that. Let's go ahead and hop in and play around with the Pathfinder. Now we're going to do 3 versions of this logo. We're going to do a color version and a black and white version, as well as a reversed out version. So these 3 simple shapes, always make a copy, put it over to the side. We're going to come over here, and we are going to select all of this and go to Object and Expand. So what that will do is now we have full shapes instead of just strokes, right? A lot of what we were working with was just strokes. Now we have full shapes. So the first thing that we want to do is take the points on this sun as well as the inside of sun and join them together. That's where the Pathfinder comes in. We're going to go to Window and Pathfinder, and you'll see that there are all kinds of great modes for the Pathfinder. This first one is join. What that's going to do is it's going to take every object that we have and it's going to join them together. You can see that there are overlapping pieces of these, and to use the join, you do need points that are overlapping. The shapes need to make sure that they are touching somewhere so that they can join together, right? I like to think of this, right, as like you have 2 water droplets and you push them together and it becomes 1 water droplet. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. And is this a live effect that we can edit? Yes. So it is a live effect that you can edit over here before you expand it. So right now, if I wanted more kind of rays, I could simply click and drag this and it would continue to make more rays. So once you expand it, which we've done over here, it changes it into a shape and you can no longer edit that. So we're going to go to the join, like we said here, and it's going to join together those 2. So now we have a nice little joining. It's perfectly symmetrical. I like that we got these little pieces of overlap right there. And it's perfectly symmetrical. It has made that radial repeat for us, and everything looks great there. So now this is the other shape. Now what we want to do here is make sure that it's cut off by this kind of gulch, right? So it's cut off by the gulch. And what we want to do is we're going to take this top object and punch it out of the bottom object. Now there's a couple ways to do this as well. So I'm going to show you, actually let's do this. Let's show you the one way to do it in just a second. I'll show you this way first. So what we're going to do is we are going to grab the top object and we're going to make a copy of it. Now, because we do want that object to stay there, we need to make a copy to use as our hole punch to punch out of the bottom shape. So we're going to Command C to copy and then Command Shift V to paste in place. It's going to paste it right on top there. And now we're going to select both of these. And the top object, which is the hill, is going to punch out of the bottom object. So we're going to go ahead and hit subtract right here, and that will punch it out. Now you'll see that there is a hole, and if we click in here to isolation mode, the top is here, the bottom is here, but the middle has been cut out. So we can simply come in here, select the bottom, and hit delete. Now we've got a nice little sun ray kind of coming up over that gulch. Let's go ahead and select our gulch, and we will make it this nice little brown color. Now, another way to do this is to come over here, and we are going to use the Shape Builder tool. So we're going to select all of this since it's paths, and we're going to go to Expand, Object and Expand. Got it. So now we're going to select the objects that we want. And we want all of the sun to become one object. So we're going to go to the Shape Builder tool, which is right over here. We can click and drag right underneath the Width tool and right by the Scale tool. We're going to click on the Shape Builder tool, and as you see, it has that nice little plus. And what that means is everything that we draw over right now is going to turn into one shape, right? It's adding all of that shape together. So we have all of these little pieces. We can simply take the Shape Builder, and we're just going to click and literally scribble over this whole thing. So there we go. And when we let go, it now has made the entire shape. Now, we did miss this middle part, right? It's selected, but we don't want it. We don't want that to be a part of the shape. So we can hold Alt or Option and just strike through. And now it is not selected. And when we come in here, we can simply, oops, oh, I held the wrong button. We can simply go over all of these little pieces and not select that middle part. And you'll see when we let go here, boop, it is now all one shape. That's great. Now we can also select here, select both of these, and we can grab that Shape Builder tool and subtract. So now we can subtract everything that's in the middle here. And if we want just the sun, or we don't want the overlays, we can subtract this. And now you can see that it's actually, there are some little overlays there. You can simply hold Alt or Option and scribble over those, and it will delete them. So now we have pretty much the same version of that sun. Now, we want to do one more thing to this logo, and we could add some text, which we'll do over here. Oh, what was the gulch name? I forgot what the name was that we wanted to name this. But we'll put some text over here. So gulch, just using the Type tool. And I want to show you one more trick in our last few minutes that is very, very fun, that will give you that extra oomph to your logo if you want to try it. And it's a technique called terrazzo. And terrazzo is a way of creating kind of a pattern, like almost a mosaic, but none of the pieces touch. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a circle in the middle here. All right, it can overlap. That's totally fine. And radial gulch. Thank you. Radial gulch. Love that. So we'll put this over here, and if we have time, we'll set that in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab this shape here, which is our circle, and we're going to grab the pen tool and just try to make a crazy pattern, right? There's no rules here. Literally just click all over the place, click everywhere you want, and you want to make sure that it is overlapping in a whole bunch of different places. We've done this in a challenge before, and it always has a really cool result. So if there are any big areas, you want to make sure you cut through those. Let's just go through here, one over there, and one over here. So we're making a full scribble. You can see that this is just a bunch of crazy shapes. And what we're going to do now is we are going to use the divide. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to make shapes of everything. So it's going to take this top piece and basically cut it out of the bottom piece, but it will keep all of them individual. So we're going to click on this button right here. And what that's going to do is it now has created individual shapes for each of these pieces. You can see them all in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to double click in here for isolation mode. And we're going to select only, actually we can just use the Shape Builder tool here. There we go. And we can select, there we go, and use the Shape Builder tool to Alt or Option and just get rid of all this extra area around the outside. Now this is a little bit of extra credit. This is a little advanced technique, but if you want to incorporate this in your logo, it's a great way to incorporate. So now we've used the shape builder to remove all of those extra pieces. So check this out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select all of these pieces while we're in isolation mode and go to Object, Transform, and Transform Each. And because the Pathfinder tool has punched out that top crazy object, it's made each of these into an individual object. And Transform Each is going to make it so that each of these is transformed with what we want it to be. So we're going to take this down to maybe 60%. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Hold on. Let's do this. We need to make them a color. And then we are going to ungroup. There we go. And now we can use our magic wand to select all of that same color. And now we go to Object, Transform, Transform Each. And we can check this into 60%. And you can see that it's moving each of those in by 60%, right? Really, really cool. And we are going to hit OK. I'm just going to use the scale tool to scale this down into the center of this nice little sun. So we now got a nice little piece of sun that's hiding out behind there. We are going to make this a darker yellow. And there we go. And now if we want to, we can select this top hill, this object here, and then use it to break apart using the Pathfinder, right? So same thing, we're going to make a copy. We're going to select this back object, and we are going to hit the Pathfinder, and now we have that nice little pattern happening in the background as well. So that's a way that you can create your own logo using the Pathfinder tool. And yes, the shape builder doesn't work if you don't select the parts that you want to merge together. So you do need to have what you want to work with selected. You can't just do it over the shape. And yes, so what you want to do is create your own logo. You can put some type in here. We didn't have time today to add in the type, but I do want you to create a logo, put some type in there, and play around with what you want your town to be called, what you want your sheriff to be. Make a logo using those simple shapes and really play around with the Pathfinder tool. And what I want you to do is post a version of your logo, right? Which looks great. And then I also want you to post a version of your logo, hit Command or Control Y, and it's going to go into outline mode. And this way you'll be able to see exactly what's happening with the Pathfinder, right? Here you can see we have some pieces that are hiding behind, but here you can see everything's cut out very nicely. The Pathfinder has made those clean lines, clean vectors with clean edges. So play around with that and try to show me both the construction of your logo as well as your final logo. And something else that you can do is I'd love to see your logo in 2 colors as well as 1 color, right, which is usually just black, and then maybe reversed out, right? Put it on a black box and then make it white and show me that your logo can work in all 3 of those versions using the Pathfinder tool. So play around, try to make 3 of those, and then I want you to post right up here, bit.ly/AI Discord. Post your work in there. We will give you some feedback and hang out a little bit later and look at the work that you're doing. So make your logos 3 colors and then also show me the outline mode of how you've built it using Illustrator. So and using that Pathfinder tool. And yes, Carrie, we did cover a lot today, so you may need to go back and rewatch it. But thankfully for you, you can do that very easily by going over here to behance.net/challenge/Illustrator. You can just click on watch video and it will take you right to this video. You can watch it again. If you've already gone back to see this, ooh, we're in the future, weird. I think Hawk only did that to be able to create the deconstructed parts. Yes, I did. That is true, yes. So thanks for joining me today. Let's take a look at what's coming up next. We have our friend Catherine Lowe next with some mobile app design, and then our friend Andrea Eppy. We love Andrea here. She is doing the XD Daily Creative Challenge. It's like this, but for Adobe XD. If you haven't used XD, it's a super powerful tool. They just added animation for paths, I believe, paths and strokes. So you actually can animate your strokes through. Maybe take your logo into XD and see if you can animate it kind of coming in. Would be really cool. It's a super powerful tool to prototype and create some really simple but cool animations. And at the end of the day, Creative Encore with our friend Voodoo Val and Jetpacks and Roller Skates. one of my favorite illustrators. I've said it every day. So check in for that and stay tuned for our next few sessions. Tomorrow we will be continuing our daily creative challenges. That's right here. We will be continuing, and I believe tomorrow we're going to be making a nice little brush and showing you how to do a custom stitched pattern. So we'll be making a custom brush as well as working with that brush and doing perforated lines. We'll be doing some pen tool. It'll be a really fun day, and hopefully you'll be able to create a signature that you can stitch into our leather piece that we are going to be making tomorrow. So thanks for joining me. It was a blast. I had fun. Hopefully you had fun too. And I will see you tomorrow on the trail in the Radial Gulch for our next daily creative challenge. Bye.